So now I'm going to talk about some more basic informations about SQL. What is SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language, and SQL is used to interact with the database management system. You can do a lot of things with SQL in the database management system, such as create schemas, alter schemas, add data, remove data, change data, and also access data. Another thing you need to know about SQL is that SQL is a data sublanguage. Data sublanguage is a combination of two languages. They are data definition language and data manipulation language. The main way of accessing data is using the data manipulation language command select. Then we will move on to database models. A database model comprises a data structure, a set of integrity constraints, operations associated with the data structure. I will come back to the set of integrity constraints a little bit later. Now let's talk about types of data models. There are various types of data models, and they can be hierarchic, network, and relational. Now I'm going to talk about relational databases. The relational data model comprises a relational data structure, a relational integrity constraint, and relational algebra or equivalent SQL. SQL is an ISO language based on relational algebra, and relational algebra is also a mathematical formulation. Then we move on to relational data structures. A relational data structure is a collection of tables or relations. A relation is a collection of rows or tuples, and a tuple is a collection of columns or attributes. And lastly, a domain is a pool of values from which the actual attribute values are taken. Then we have domain constraints. The domain constraints limit the range of domain values of an attribute. They also specify uniqueness and the nullness of an attribute. And they also specify a default value for an attribute when no value is provided. Remember that when there are no values provided, it is actually called a null value. Then we have entity integrity. Every tuple is uniquely identified by a unique non-null attribute. That attribute is called the primary key. Then we have referential integrity. Rows in different tables are correctly related by valid key values. These are called foreign keys, and foreign keys refer to the primary keys. Then let's talk about some more basics. Each column of a table holds data of a particular type. This type can be either integer, variables, string, characters, decimals, or blobs. The range of values can be further constrained. If a column in a row contains no data, it is null. Null value can indicate that there are no possible value or there are unavailable data. All rows must differ from each other in some way. As I said before, sometimes a row is also called a tuple. Cardinality is the number of rows of a table, and arity is the number of columns of a table. So primary key. I've talked about primary key more than once before. It is a really easy concept. The primary key actually is one or more columns in a table that is unique for that particular table. By unique, I mean that there can be no duplications of that same data. And that was the end of this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something new today.